Thank you all very much. Good evening. UNC family, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to another Monday night virtual report. And let me first begin by thanking this very powerful lineup of speakers who spoke before me. First, our two chairpersons, Councillor Nadia and Councillor Derek. Please give them a round of applause. Former Minister Tim Gopi Singh spoke with us at length on the collapse of the education sector. MP Barry Padarat, the Peppermount himself, talking about what is most dear to us, the children of our nation. Thank you very much, MP. MP Saddam, on spot on legal niceties and legal hypocrisy and legal lies by those in office. Thank you, Saddam. Senator Sean Sobers, powerful. I was coming in the car, very powerful contribution. Thank you so much. And of course, our very own, you can never put him down, MP Rodney Charles. Give him a round of applause. So thank you. And let me also thank all of you for once again giving me the mandate together with my team to serve you as your political leader for the next 3 years. On behalf of the team who will speak as well tonight for a short while, I say thank you very much. We are very humbled. This is one of the greatest honors of my life to serve as your leader of our very great party, the UNC. Thank you for the confidence placed in us, and I promise you, we will not disappoint you. We are UNC and proud. We are UNC and proud. I love my party, I love my country. We will continue to build and strengthen our party to reach even greater heights. Today we can say that our party is united at a level never seen before. Our troops march together. We work together. We protect and defend each other legally and morally. Today the rank and file members of our great party can rest assured that the representatives of the UNC under my leadership will not, and I say again, will not allow anyone to attack, to weaken, to divide our party. We will not allow it. Today we are strong. New schools, paved roads, improved education, lower taxes, enhanced civil and human rights, legislating against discrimination, promoting transparency in governance, delivering service equally to all in our country. Those were the hallmarks of the government that I led. And tonight I heard Derek tell us some of the achievements of the PNM government. I want to endorse what Councillor Derek told us of the state of collapse that we are in, thanks to Rowley and his incompetent bunch. So our type of people-centered development, that is what the UNC stands for. We have delivered, we have the track record, and we can do it again, and we will do it again. Our great party will never stop fighting for each and every citizen of our country. We look forward again to serving the people of all of Trinidad and Tobago. We saw the videos on the social media today. But before we get there to see the chaos in border Spain, and some of my colleagues spoke about it before, let's just look at the headlines of all three daily newspapers today. All three, not one. You know, sometimes one will carry a little something, the other one will never even report on it, but look at these headlines. This is Trinidad and Tobago reporting front page newspapers today. Guardian, killing fields. Killing fields, Trinidad and Tobago. Daily Express, bloody hell. Today's front page of the Express, bloody hell. Today's front page of the Newsday, 2 men shot dead in Cocorite. Tears for victims. High driver among 4 killed in a North Coast shooting. And all of these headlines paint a bloody picture of Trinidad and Tobago. Rodney reminded us that we are now number 6 in the world. I think after this weekend, we're even better than number 6. Even worse than number 6, depending on which way you look at it. So over the weekend, about 20 people killed. I liked Rodney's analogy. In the Ukraine, you have a war. More people are being killed here on a daily basis than where there is a war. All thanks to this incompetent, corrupt government led by a prime minister, which when I watched him on Saturday, I wondered if the fellow was going mad. He was like in a meltdown, a total meltdown, to see a prime minister, Sean, behaving like that. Where have we reached? And I'll come back to it in a moment. So the killing fields of Trinidad and Tobago, our sons and daughters gunned down, whether it's children, whether in the prime of your lives or whether the elderly. Killing fields, the headline tells us, deadly. And then we saw on the social media today the chaos in Port of Spain. Now you remember a man said, I raised the gas price 3 times, but they ain't riot yet. Well, today I heard some people speaking. They talked about the gas price. And the man is saying on the video, they laughed at us and said, oh, we ain't riot yet, we ain't riot yet. What happened today? What happened today in Port of Spain, the city of our country? And where is the Prime Minister? Playing golf in Suriname? What is he doing? He was allowed to return to Trinidad. All the tests and investigations of whatever nature. He was allowed, man, out for a whole month. Out for a month, a Prime Minister of a country, and not a word, not one day a photograph, nothing. Once that summit ended, he went AWOL. He was just missing. So many things were happening here, not a word. And look, even today, with the riot going on in Port of Spain, the riots, you could see all the smoke and the burning, whatever, and everything. This man still hasn't said one word. Not a word. Which Prime Minister ever did that? Maybe only Eric Williams, because in those days you did not have the apology to do it. It's not an excuse when you see this in the capital city. If I were the Prime Minister in a cargo meeting, I'd jump up and I'd come home here. Because we always say, home first. Home first. But this Prime Minister doesn't seem to believe in that principle, home first. So we witnessed really shocking, terrifying scenes in Port of Spain. And I want to applaud the men and women in our protective services. They were on the front line of the crisis today, trying their best to keep our citizens safe. So let's give them a round of applause. But I want to condemn, whilst I congratulate those hardworking members of the law enforcement agencies, to condemn the blatant inaction of this PNM government. You know, this thing happened about 2 years ago, you all remember that? A similar scenario. At that time, just like now, Keith Rowley did not even acknowledge the fact that the riots had even taken place. He was asked about it, and in his usual abusive and sarcastic manner, when a reporter asked, he said, who rioted? You? That's what he told the reporter. Who rioted? You? Well, Prime Minister de Port of Spain rioted. Look at the videos. You condemn social media. But if we didn't have that social media, we wouldn't know what was going on in this country. We would not know what is happening right here. So again, thanks to those brave souls on social media. Don't condemn them. Because as Barry said, if you depend on mainstream media, you don't know, because if you listen to them, Heinz was on the TV or wherever he was saying, everything normal, everything good. What's what was happening? And you were in Port of Spain. JJ, what was happening? The smoke and the fire and the brimstone. But they say, hey, don't worry. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Lies again, a lying government. Total lies. Now, 2 years later, we have another attempt to create anarchy in Port of Spain. Make no mistake, what happened today was complete lawlessness and mayhem. Let us not be proud of that. We could never be proud of the lawlessness. Yes, they're standing for their rights, but there are lawful ways so to do. And the fact that people were driven to this is all on the fault, on the blame, on the shoulders of this wicked, corrupt PNM government. Not on behalf of citizens. There are areas in Port of Spain that have only known the PNM. They've been their PNM forever. And look at the state of those communities today, thanks to Rowley and his government. Where was Heinz? Where was Heinz during this chaos? Where he went, he was in hiding. He told reporters he was in a command center. Doing what? Commanding what? Exactly. Commanding what? Doing what? What were you commanding? And one of the committees there was yours. That you were MP, you were one of them. It took another, gosh, let me not get too far. Another minister who now in charge of, what you call it, cotton bush and all such nice things. He was out there, they say, he putting out fire. He was out and burning tires. I don't know. Where's your Minister of National Security? Hines, as Rodney said, and we all say, the prisoner's officer said, Hines, you must go. The country saying you must go. You're the most incompetent national security minister. I never thought we could get somebody more incompetent than a fellow named Dillon. You remember Dillon? He was of elder abuse fame. You all remember that? Elder abuse fame. Well, I thought we couldn't get worse than that until this incompetent Fitzgerald Hines stepped down. Fitzy stepped down. And then again we saw Saturday. Boy, that thing was so painful to watch. I wanted to take off the feed. I didn't want to watch Rowley at the airport, but you know, sometimes when things are very painful, we have to sit and grind your teeth and listen. A month, I say, AWOL Rowley finally was allowed to come back to Trinidad. And before I move on, he was hosted by the US. So let's wish the American people very happy 4th of July Independence Day. And that news conference on Saturday was a crazy news conference. If you all saw it, you would know that what we actually witnessed was an embarrassing prime minister essentially confessing that he's powerless and incompetent to govern the country. He made a confession. This confession is good for the soul. That's what he did on Saturday. After a whole month, endless scandals, storm, flood, murder spree, Rowley resurfaced and did what? To berate a reporter. And he did so wrongfully. And I sent him, our team today, a newspaper. I don't know if you all have it. I would like you all to see it. Darren Bahow. He berated Darren Bahow. Toting feelings for about 15 years, this is Rowley. This man toting feelings for 15 years about an alleged headline in a story written by Darren Bahow. And he berated the reporter, you know, just like I was saying, you don't have this fella, we have to worry about his health. We have to worry if his mental health, I'm very worried about his mental health. Because he seems to forget a lot. He's just like his age, you know, memory lapses. The man forgets. They all know start to forget when it suits them. So, I don't know if you have the clip at all. You have a clip there for us? Which one? You have the berating the reporter one? Let's run that in the meantime. But I sent it to Kevin and to Peter.
The what?
Let me ask you a question.
I am not going to answer you.
Sir, I don't have any personal grudge
It
against
is not personal. I am just pointing out the role that the media is playing when there's malice. And if you believe the nonsense that somebody put on social media about me and due diligence, while I am representing this country as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago with dignity that you're not accustomed to, you're on your own with that. I am not going to go down that road with you. Because if there's another role you can play, you know, but you choose to play this role, and I will not go down there with you. If you know something otherwise, you print it without my comment. Is there any other question?
Sir, on March 16th...
Is there any other question from anybody else?
Sir, on March 16th, you appointed Mr. Reginald Armour as the Attorney General.
He'll have some malicious use with respect to that question. So he could not face the questions. And you can see how easily he melts down. Imagine this is a man in a negotiation room. And the minute things get difficult, it's like a tantrum. It was a tantrum. I don't know what kind of madness is going on in this man's head. But mental illness is a very serious issue, and I take it very seriously. I'm not making a joke here. I'm serious that this man's behavior and stability is a grave cause for concern. So here we are, 15 years later, he toting feelings about Darren Bahow. And he says that Darren Bahow, I hope they could find it, Darren Bahow said he appeared in court. He said when you use the word appear, that's like in some criminal case. Well, first of all, the man doesn't even know what the word appear means. Totally clueless. Okay, so look what the headline says. Will someone read it? You see anything about the word appear up there? This is the headline from the story written by Darren Bahow, that he was complaining about, that they put him saying that he appeared, and that means he's a criminal. Well, I don't know if that's a Freudian slip. I really can't say when he's talking about criminal matters. I really don't know what he knows. We don't know. Rowley makes first court showing in landed matter. And when you read the story, it was totally legit. Nothing but criminal, that Rowley had filed this matter against the Integrity Commission about the landed matter, which was about whether he should be charged and so on for somebody thieving materials from the hospital in Tobago. And so, gravel. So first of all, he taught in feelings 15 years later and lies. Nothing about appearance. It is that first, whatever. You've seen it. He lied. Clear and swear, lied. His skin, you know, I say people are thin skin, or that fella's skin thinner than a grape. The skin of grapes or mango or something, real thin skin, thin feelings. Rowley, by his own words, in that conference, admitted that his government has fallen. This is a man who stood up at a podium for nearly an hour at a podium, and he literally threw his hands up in the air like a helpless fool when the media started to ask questions how to deal with all these problems in our country. He just went into meltdown. Saddam, I think, dealt with the issue that he lied about Amor being recused or disqualified. The court proceedings are there. Nowadays, you can get those things online. Saddam has a copy there. We all have it. There's nothing about Amor recusing himself. He attempted to say he recused himself, but ex post facto, after the fact. After he'd already meddled up in the people's business, he then tries to say, well, I accuse myself. But the judgment says very clearly, Amor disqualified. Sequel law, automatically disqualified. And we saw some lawyers today bearing on it, but you know, they're so nice to the PNM that even when they buff in the PNM, they have to find Kamala name and the UNC somewhere in it. I saw somebody write an article on Sunday. Something about whatever they were talking about was totally irrelevant, but they put 2 lines about Kamala win the UNC election, and maybe that's for the PNM to win. What that had to do with anything in the story? Nothing whatsoever. But I know if they don't put the UNC in it, they don't put Kamala name in it, nobody will read those stories. That's why they put Kamala picture, UNC pictures, and the UNC name in almost everything, so at least somebody will read them. So they go out there, they're so nice, the lawyers are saying, listen, it's not true, they won't say he lied, but we know. Recusal is a totally different thing from lying. And the question arises, who told the Prime Minister that? Did the AG have a memory lapse again and lie to the Prime Minister, tell the Prime Minister, Mr. Prime Minister, I recuse myself, don't worry about those people? Was it Amor who told him that? Or was it the former AG who told him that? Faris, huh? Who told him that? Because again, you caused the Prime Minister, or he caused himself, but he's so blind to the reality that he stands again after a month to speak to the people of our country, and he lies square and bold-faced, as to say. Now, I saw something happening today in our Parliament, in the Senate. Senators are here. I want to congratulate our senators today. Tremendous job. A tremendous job. And I want to tell you, I didn't intend to speak about this tonight, you know. But sometimes things happen and you're forced to speak. I was planning to speak in the Parliament tomorrow on the bail amendment bill, all of us. Today the senators did their job up in the Senate. And do you know what happened? The government has fallen in the Parliament of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The government has fallen. At the end of their debate today, they adjourned the House, but listen what was going on. We have to back up a little bit. Okay, I can back up. The Senate was convened urgently to come and deal with the bail amendment bill today in the Senate. You know what that bail bill was? It's not about giving you bail. It's about not giving you bail. It's no bail. No bail for persons charged for certain offenses, and you cannot get bail for 120 days. They're locking you down with no due process. So they're taking away your constitutional rights of liberty, not to be deprived of that liberty, or constitutional section 4 rights, not to be deprived of liberty without due process. So once they hold you, charge you, no bail for 120 days. Locked down inside there for 120 days. Then in other instances where the matter is called, no evidence is taken, I think it takes you sometimes a year. For some person, you could be inside there for a year and you cannot apply for bail. So there's a constitutional right for bail, the right to apply. We are not saying give everybody bail, but that is a function of the judiciary, not of the Parliament. That is one of the fundamental pillars of the rule of law. And that is not just a breach of Section 4 rights. Our Constitution codified the common law, which includes the right to apply for bail. So it's a Section 5 right as well in the Constitution that was being breached with this. Section 5 rights to tell a person, I'll lock you up, and no bail. No bail, stay inside. So Section 4 rights breach. Section 5 rights breach. More Section 4 rights breach because it comes about equality of treatment of persons before the law, protection of the law. So you can't say, I'm taking Anil. You see, he may be Darren Baho and he asking too much bad questions. I'm going to lock him up and no bail. That cannot be. These are fundamental rights that are pillars of the jurisprudence and the law of the land that we live under. And when you interfere with them, what you are doing, you're really running down into dictatorship and tyranny that we keep talking about. And there it goes. So we said, last time I had to back up again. The last time they brought this bail amendment bill, they were coming to renew it, to continue it. And 2019. And we in the opposition stood firm and we said, no, we did not support it. It was defeated. And they went all over the country crying and singing and wailing and weeping and gnashing teeth. You remember that? Oh, it's Kamala, it's the UNC. They love the criminals. They love the criminals. Blame Kamala, blame UNC. I did something then which I regret today, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt. We gave them the benefit of it. We said, listen, if you really think this thing is so important and it's going to help you to solve the crime, we are prepared. Even though this bill will now be dead in the present sitting of the Parliament, we will waive with you by consent the standing orders to allow for the bill to come back in the Parliament, and we will support you and give you the majority. So said, so done, but we recommended several amendments, one of which was for the Minister of National Security every 6 months to come to the Parliament and give a report of how many people were detained and held under didn't get bail. No, they didn't want that. Several things. We said, look, giving a benefit of. They got that for 3 more years, for 2019 to know. That bill, the 2019 bill, will expire August, 4th, somebody? The 4th. So in this last minute in the Parliament, they run down the road, rushing. We need it, we need this bill. Too much crime. Well, let me ask you a question, and somebody said that thing Saddam tonight. If this bill was working so good to stop crime, why have so much crime still? Why had 20 killings yesterday? The crime has increased. It has not decreased. And you've had this bill in law, and you still have it in law. Not help. The statistics will not show any help from this bill. The empirical evidence is not there. So they got it for 3 more years, and here, Hail Mary, back again, with the same old. I listened to the Attorney General again, what a painful exercise. I now understand why he says he was a junior counsel. Because if you listen to him today, you will be convinced that he is. Yes. So listening to this disgraced AG today, you know, he did a Foster. You know what Foster did? Plagiarize. He did a Foster on us today in the Parliament. And what do I mean? This is a new AG, but it's the same old thing, like he cut and paste Farris' speech from the 2019 bill in the Parliament. So that speech he gave. New AG, same old. Listen to him, the amount of nonsense I heard from this man. Again, I said it before. He must really think he's a junior counsel. But listen to him, you may be convinced. So Mr. Limo in the Parliament again, you know something? Do not worry about my health. I am worried about your health, Mr. Limo. I'm worried about yours. And it's already that you have forgotten things. in your affidavit before the Florida court. But I wonder if you forgot what you said in 2016 when the same bill was being debated in the Parliament. You had another memory lapse, what you said then. Let me read for you what he said in the Parliament today. I mean, this thing is most interesting, you know. Most interesting. He comes to Parliament doing what? Piloting this bail amendment bill, which is to give life to the same 2019 bill and the same 2016 bill to lock you up without the right to apply for bail. Hear what he says. By way of summary, Madam President, I quote from the Hansard we got from the Parliament, I will today make the following 5 or more points. 1, this government has a constitutional responsibility to govern by legislating for an amendment to Act 17. 2, the government accepts the Supreme Court of Appeal in the Achille Charles matter. I'll come to that in a moment. 3, the government has appealed that decision, that is before the Apex Court, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Achille, the case of Achille Charles, ruled by the Court of Appeal in Trinidad and Tobago, that a person accused of murder should not be denied the right to appeal, to apply for bail. So if you give people the right to, the court is saying, yes, they can apply for bail. That is the law as we speak. Privy Council has heard it, will give a decision, but the law in TNT now is you can apply for bail. The judge will have to give it to you, but you could apply. So why then are you bringing a piece of law that is now in contradiction and contrary to the law laid down by our Court of Appeal? When he spoke, he said, okay, when that time comes according to how the Privy Council rules, we'll deal with that then. So he wants to come and tell you, no bail application, none to be done, but when the Privy Council deals with it, we'll let you know what we think. 3, oh yes, that's the appeal. 4, the Section 13 constitutional argument permits of exceptional circumstances which exist in our current situation today. Hear this now. The government, by Prime Minister Rowley, has only 2 days ago stated that this republic is at a point at which violence can be seen to amount to a public health emergency. I'll come back to this public health thing. Imagine the LC will now be a minister in charge of national security. COVID, oh God help us. God help us. Now I come to something I want to remind him of. Madam President, it is important that I commence my remarks before this House today by addressing a consideration of principle. I remark on the fact, very boastful, that today I stand here and I am privileged so to do as Attorney General of the Cabinet of the Government of Trinidad and Tobago. Doesn't end. Well, they top the descant here. So he's now speaking as the AG of a country. Disgraced nonetheless, but as the AG. This is the part. On June 28, 2016, I had the privilege and honor to serve as the president of the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago. And here he describes the Law Association. This is the same Law Association Rowley lambasted on Saturday. Here he describes them as hypocrites, these people are, total hypocrites. Served as the president of the Law Association. Here he describes it, a constituent statutory organization to which all practicing lawyers belong, and which organization regulates the dignity of an honorable profession. But Prime Minister Rowley on Saturday lambast. The Law Association is a statutory body created by law, created by statute in the Parliament of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And all their duties and regulations are by the law. But the Prime Minister will lambast them, but his AG here push him on the bus. Because the AG saying, no, they are the ones who the dignity, regulate the dignity. I stood there, and he says, in that capacity, as, oh yes, of the dignity of the honorable profession. In that capacity, he says, in 2016, with reference to a previous incarnation of the legislation we speak of today, I stood then in the name of the Law Association and declared, on behalf of that association, that predecessor bill, you understand, predecessor bill is the one that came before this, they all have the same provisions. That bill, which sought an extension of the operation of the Bail Act until 15 August 2018, an extension of the Anti-Gang Act 2011, could not be supported then by the Law Association for the reason that those two proposed pieces of legislation were inconsistent with, among things, legislation which was reasonably justifiable in a society that had a proper respect for the rights and freedoms of the individual. Here's it. In this document, check it out, check this signature. Whose signature is that? Same Limo. Limo. He raised 5 points in this on behalf of the Law Association, signed under his hand. Nice signature. You've all seen it? Yes, well, we'll come to that. Don't rush, don't rush, don't rush. Don't rush. He says in this 5 reasons why the Law Association could not support this same bill in its previous incarnation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Since their initial introduction, neither piece of legislation has acted as a deterrent to the commission of serious crime. Nor has there been any explanation or statistics presented to show that either piece of legislation has reduced crime. So you say it hasn't worked. 2, the pre-trial detention of persons without bail for a period of 120 days is not reasonably justifiable in a society that has a proper respect for the rights of the freedoms of the individual. Yeah. No, he's sounding like a junior counsel. 3. Or a note taker. 3. And at this point, he was already a senior counsel, by the way. 3. In fact, the legislation whose life would be extended under the amendments has significantly increased the number of persons on remand. The conditions on remand where accused are kept are acknowledged to be barbaric and inhumane. 4. The significant deficiencies of the forensic system resulted in unreasonably delaying testing and so on, is that people may not get their matters heard at minimum 2 to 3 years. Well, we know it's far more than that. Wouldn't get their matter heard, so you locked down inside a jail. 5. There are no safeguards against malfeasance by police officers. In a situation in which the mere mention of a police complaint of suspicion and possession of a firearm or something resembling a firearm invokes the no bail provision. See that? The Law Association does not therefore support the extension of the lives of these 2 bills, the bail bill and the anti-gun. Why the change? Why has he once again switched sides? In the Piaco matter, he switched sides, remember? Today he was for them, next day he was for who? Yeah. Switch sides, the hypocrisy of these people sitting in high office in this land. But he does try to explain what has changed. I listened as well, but I was happy we got the written record. So first of all, I'm saying he did admit, maybe he did his due diligence and jogged his memory to say, well, hey, you know, I signed that letter. Somebody say, hey, boy, don't get in that same trouble again, you know. Last time you didn't remember, you know. Hey, go and check, you know. You signed this thing, you know. So he comes and says, well, yes, we didn't support it. But look here now. Today, as I stand here to persuade this House to pass legislation on a continuation of the same subject, it is my solemn responsibility to persuade this House that in the changed and current circumstances of TNTD, that bill must be continued and extended. In the changed and current circumstances of TNT today, that bill must be continued and extended. And I say by way of prefatory remarks, in order to guard against any suggestion that with what I said in 16 as President of the Law Association, I am being inconsistent with what I say today in July 22. He continues, the circumstances are changed, and I have the privilege and the honor and the solemn responsibility to look at this legislation, this bill, through the lens of an entirely different perspective. That is to say, as the Attorney General of this country, with a mandate of the government to govern this country responsibly. What has changed? What has changed? He has started to drink Balisé juice. The lens has changed because he's now wearing the lens of a stooge AG, drinking the Balisé juice of the PNM. What has changed? What has changed? I was still waiting to hear the change, you know. change circumstances. First, he gives a change. He himself identifies the change first, which is, I am now speaking. I am the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. Eat a food. Eat a food. He goes on. Therefore, by this bill, more and more and more and more, which we don't need to go through. I want to tell you what he says about the changes, because I was waiting. I called Saddam and said, Saddam, listen. I want to hear what has changed. Where are the statistics? I'll find it for you here. I wrote it. So he says it's changed. Serious crimes are people in custody, the general interest of the community, or young women, or young men, or elderly, or general citizenry. Look, all of them under pressure. Trouble. So where is the pepper spray legislation? You come back to talk about these women and think, well, it's shame. Where is the pepper spray? Where is the GPS bracelet we passed the law for? So instead of keeping them in a jail cell when they are presumed innocent and proven, why don't you use giving them the GPS? They could be tracked. You could know where they are at any given time to help reduce any crime. Here's the change now. The statistics, Madam President, which this government has researched, show a very serious state of affairs before us. TNT has continued to see alarming figures as it relates to serious crimes, including murders, violent sexual offenses, and firearms. But when he gives the numbers, and we know, even though this law has been in place since 2016, these serious crimes have been increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. So it is very clear it is not working. So that is not a justification. That is not a change. The only change, you're drinking Balinger juice and eating a food from the treasury. That's the change. That is the change, hypocrisy. And we sit down here and let these things pass and we say nothing. We say nothing, and you have a prime minister, when you ask him about due diligence, poor Darren Baha, we had to at least compliment him for trying, and he stayed very calm. Stayed very calm. He kept repeating about due diligence in appointing Amo. None was done too, because you would have known if you want to come back with this bail thing. Hey, this is a man who said this thing not working. This is unconstitutional. Every word in the book. We'll deal more with that, but we have to go down why I tell you the government has collapsed. And I think we're gone, I said the government has fallen. That's how I started it off today, have fallen. So, here we go. Senate, do it today, whatever happened. They sent to members, to our Chief Whip, David Lee, to inform members from the Secretariat of the Parliament to tell us that on the 5th of July, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, 5th July, giving us notice that the House, that's us MPs now, will be doing this bail bill in the House. But there is the practice, the procedure, and the protocol. If a bill is in the Senate, it cannot be laid in the House. So it was not even laid, but they gave us prior notice. We intend to lay it tomorrow, Tuesday 5th, and debate it on the same Tuesday 5th. But look at trouble now. Look at trouble now. Look at trouble. You told us that, David, I asked you the date, 30th June, so all of us busy preparing for this. That's why I know so much about it, I could talk it. I could just leave and talk it. We could all talk it. We prepared. We spent our time, which is a practice in the Parliament. When we know what we are going to debate, we practice, we research. And so, 30th June. Today is the 4th July. What happened? You cannot bring that bill to my house tomorrow, because you did not pass the bill in the Senate today. True. You did not. It cannot come to our house. So what will happen tomorrow when you bring all of us from 10 o'clock in the morning? I'll come to that. So what happened today? They were so sure that they will get the votes in the Senate of the so-called independents. That is why they put no space. They put the Senate today the 4th, and very next morning, 10 a.m., they put the House. These fellas don't know what they're doing, just like they just don't know what they're doing. Oh God, you're so sure, you must be biased all them independents that you were so sure? Well, they gave you a shock today, because you were forced to adjourn the Parliament without taking the votes, because you could not get the votes. So what did they do? They adjourned the Senate to Wednesday. So you could imagine how much lobbying going on all now. All of tomorrow, 48 hours lobbying these independents. Let's see if them fellas have the gravitas. I think there's another word, but I won't use it tonight. Let's see if you have the gravitas. Stay there. that if they could withstand, because this bill is very, very dangerous, undemocratic law, it is totally unconstitutional, and it goes beyond those section 4 and 5 rights that I just talked to you about. It goes beyond the special, what they call it, the supermajority. So normally it's simple majority, which they have. Supermajority, that's what he called them, that's the 3/5. I'm telling you, it goes beyond the section 13 supermajority of 3/5, because you know why? You are interfering with the powers of the judiciary. And our constitution, our whole framework of democracy is a separation of powers. The parliament cannot tell the judiciary what to do in exercising their functions. And so you don't need any section 13 3/5 of this, boss. It was the same thing I raised when they brought the whistleblower and wanted to take away your right to go to a courthouse. Those are fundamental democratic principles. A famous case I read years ago and has stayed with me forever. It is a case out of Mauritius known as Coriati and the state. And in that case, the Privy Council read the Constitution of Mauritius and said you must take into account not just section 4 rights, section 5 rights, you must read the preamble to the Constitution, which is the foundation of the entire constitutional instrument document. And that in the preamble, when you read it, it says that Trinidad and Tobago, like Mauritius is, Trinidad and Tobago is a sovereign democratic state. What does that mean? What does it mean? Nice words. It means something very powerful. It means that we'll be founded on the principles of the rule of law. And the rule of law, in addition to many other things, one of which is what is known as a separation of powers. So, we in the parliament cannot go to a courthouse and do the work of the judges. We cannot judge a case. But same wise, the parliament cannot tell the judiciary whether to grant bail or not grant bail. The judiciary has that discretion and that power. You apply, they'll tell you yes, they'll tell you no. So when the UNC says we are not supporting this for many reasons, but it's not that we are saying, let everybody get bail and go there and be criminals. No, the judiciary has that power, already has that power, always had that power, and you want to take it away from them. So you can't get a section 13 supermajority. You will have to get a supermajority of section 54 of the Constitution. No 3/5 is going to help you. So if you could bully me and us on independence to pass it for you, it will be struck down. It will be struck down in the courts of law of Trinidad and Tobago. It will be struck down. I therefore call on those independents to think 4 and 5 times when they're loving you tonight, all tonight, with caviar and lobster hunting, or whatever else. I'm not saying they're doing that, but if they try to do that, run them. And when you come back on Wednesday, you tell them, no, we don't want this bill. We will not support this bill. We will not support it. Yes, yes. There are some good men and women, I'm sure, who will think a few times. Why would you put it for Wednesday? You know you're going to lose today already. Why? Because they want to lobby. So men and women of the Senate, independent as you are called, please stand up, not for the ballot issues, stand up for the people and their rights, people of Trinidad and Tobago. Oh, we still have to talk about tomorrow now, really. So when this thing, when the government fell down, collapsed in the Senate today, about 7 o'clock, is it, David? They sent a notice now, because now it's a real shame, eh? The bill we were supposed to do tomorrow cannot come in the House tomorrow for debate. So they send up thing now, they say we're doing 3 bills tomorrow. We're doing 3, or they come 10 o'clock, we're doing it. No notice before, but come in the morning. We got that notice 7 p.m. Well, we coming. We are coming and we will give you hell. Whatever it may become, hell or high water, we will come to Parliament. So they want to ambush us now by giving us 3 different bills, but it's egg on their faces. It is incompetence, and maybe far more than that is playing off. So, look, I didn't intend to talk on bill and whatever, but I think the age is in crisis, the government is in crisis, the Prime Minister is in crisis, the country is in crisis. And you know, many years ago I shared with you, I wouldn't be much longer, I see what time is running. I worked as a secondary school teacher, I'm very proud of that. I worked as a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, so my background is in education. And sometimes it makes me able to spot when some people simply need to go back to school. And I am of a respectful view that Rowley clearly needs a refresher course in reading and comprehension. When asked how he behaved, when they asked about the Lioness Grace AG, look at how he behaved. We mentioned about the disqualification. Go and check the meaning of disqualify and recusal like you don't know the difference. Go and check the meaning before, what was it when he went to court? Appeared in a court and showing up in a court. And by the way, whatever became of all that gravel and thing that was missing from that hospital. So, friends, I close tonight just to remind you, tomorrow we'll be in Parliament to do our duty on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And we will see how things play out in the days to come. The Parliament is going to shut down on Friday, and that's why they started to rush to bring all these bills. All of the week before, they adjourned a week when this man was missing. You know, all these times, no Parliament, suddenly everything's crush, because you have to close Parliament. I told you I'll come back to this issue of public health emergency. Now, if you wanted more proof that this government has fallen, this is another thing. Nothing could be more evident of this than the strange, baffling comments about having a public health emergency. I wonder if he went and checked out. Tim, you could probably help us. What is a public health emergency? The term public health emergency means, Rowley, an occurrence or imminent credible threat of an illness or health condition caused by bioterrorism, epidemic or pandemic disease, or novel and highly fatal infectious agents or biological toxin that poses a substantial risk of a significant number of human fatalities or incidents of permanent long-term disability. Such illness or health condition includes illness or health resulting from natural disaster. So where is violence? Yeah, that's the only thing happening. The PNM are already, they are the natural disasters. So nonsense kind of talk about this public health emergency. And, you know, as I already said, and we all cringe at the thought that the Alsing will now be the man. One tear, the Alsing crying, or crocodile tears all about will be the man to take care of our health issues. I had lots more to say. I want to remind you, Mr. Raul, we haven't forgotten you on Inez Gator. I had planned to repeat it tonight and remind us when you got a discount to buy this apartment up in, where was it? In Tobago, Inez Gate, in Inez Gate. So my friends, I say that the Prime Minister has reneged on his duty as Prime Minister. He has admitted he's simply incompetent, incapable. He's better, it will look at, better running out the country than running the country in Trinidad. He doesn't understand basic governance. He doesn't understand or respect the rule of law or court rulings, locally or internationally. He's a stranger to the truth, stranger to democracy. He lacks humanity, he lacks common sense, comprehension skills, and behaves in a very confused and crazy manner sometimes, uttering strange things about our future. I said that this government has fallen. We use the word collapse. I think after that, where they fell down in that parliament today, the government has clearly shown they are clueless like headless chickens in governing and running our country. So let me tell you something, Mr. Rowley. Come Monday, what I say, what Killer tells us, come down day, Rowley. Come down day, Rowley, and call the election. Come down from day. Come down from day and call the election now. I thank you and God bless you. And as I thank you again from all of us, our team would like to share with you, these are the members of your new national executive, so if you can make your way, please, to the microphone. And then you are to take your oath, if I'm not mistaken.